Hi, it's Dr. B. I wanted to create a short video that gives you a overview of our project, our group project that we're working on right now. This is just a recap of the slides that I've gone over in class, but I wanted to also create a video for you to be able to refer back to later. So this is a team project, and you're going to produce several assignments over the course of this project. What I'm doing is trying to simulate a real life professional situation where you would actually do writing. So almost all the time at work when we write anything, we're writing it in the context of doing work, and we're writing it in the context of a project. Some of the most common professional genres are proposals, presentations, and reports. And those never happen outside of the context of a project. You wouldn't propose something unless you were proposing a project. You wouldn't present something unless you were presenting some work on a project or something that you've done. And you wouldn't write a report either unless you were evaluating the work you've done, usually on a project. So I want to simulate a professional writing situation, like a situation you might encounter at work, and then run you through this process so that you can practice these writing skills in a real life context. So hopefully it makes it a little bit more engaging and easier to learn, and maybe something that would help you remember these skills later on, because if you're in this situation later in your career, then since you've learned them in this kind of context, hopefully it will help you remember them. The ultimately what you are creating during this project is you're creating a set of user guides. That's the middle part of the project. So in the user guide assignment description, you can kind of think of it as a call for proposals. What I've defined a problem, and that problem generally is, we need to keep kids safe online, and we need to educate kids about some kind of problem or give them a set of instructions for how to keep themselves safe. We need to create some sort of guide for educating parents and giving them practical tips on how to keep kids safe. And same thing with teachers. So we need to create a set of user guides that somehow keep kids safe online. And those user guides are written to 3 different users: teachers, kids, and parents or guardians. That's pretty much what you're going to create. And we'll talk more about user guides later. This can be like a troubleshooting guide, or it could be a tutorial, it could be a presentation, an infographic. Like, they can take a lot of different forms, but essentially what you're going to do is each member of your group is going to create a user guide, and these user guides come together as a collection. So what you're doing right now is you're writing a proposal to pitch your idea for your user guide. You're going to write a proposal that narrows down the problem in some way. I've given you a really broad problem of keeping kids safe online. You need to narrow this down to something much more specific that your guide can focus on. And like I said, each member of your group would be producing their own guide, but they should work together logically as a collection. So you'll narrow down the specific problem, you'll do some research, and you'll brainstorm what might be a good user guide that would help kids, parents, and teachers solve this problem. So you might choose to narrow down the problem in a lot of ways. It just needs to, in some way, fit under the large umbrella of keeping kids safe online. And you're going to write a proposal that shows me how you've redefined this problem and gives me a preview of your solution, which are your guides. Once I approve your proposal, once this is turned in and I've approved your project, then your team is going to create the guides. And then once you've created your guides, you're going to present them to the class, and then you're going to write a report evaluating your work based on what you proposed. So does your guide really solve the problem that you proposed in your proposal? And did you do what you said you were going to do, and how well did you do? So this is basically the next 7 to 8 weeks till the end of the semester. This is what we're working on. Now here's our timeline, and so these are the different assignments. You're going to turn in a proposal. This is a group grade. Everyone needs to contribute to the proposal. You need to read that assignment description because I have very specific requirements for how to collaborate, but I need to be able to see everybody's contributions. Then you're going to create your user guides. This is an individual grade. Each member of your team will produce their own guide, but again, they need to come together logically as a collection. Then you're going to have an in-class presentation that is also a group grade, a white paper or report, which is a group grade, and then you'll write a reflective memo, which is an individual grade. For each of these major documents, so proposal, user guide, and report, I've created these slides which are my suggestions for how to break down tasks to get things done on time. This is going to be a flipped classroom situation where I provide resources for you that you need to review outside of class, and then in class your team will be working on the project, and I will be there to coach you and guide you and give you feedback and answer questions and give you suggestions. But you and your team are really responsible for managing yourselves and your time and making sure you get things done on time. I'm not going to manage you in that way. So based on my own professional experience, I have broken these things down into tasks to kind of help guide you. So for your proposal, you first need to do some research on the specific problem that you want to solve, the topic, and also what has been done before, what other resources are out there. This will help you, really conceptualize the problem in a really concrete way and kind of inspire you on your own guide. It'll also generate information that you'll use in your proposal and later in your report. And then you'll write a problem statement, because the problem statement is really the heart of the proposal, and it's also something you'll use again later in your report. You can actually build the proposal around the problem statement. So what I would do is do some research. If you need help finding sources, ask me for help. You need to review existing solutions. Again, I'm there to help you. And then I would write a problem statement and then have me review your problem statement before you do anything else. Then, once your problem statement appears to be solid, you want to create a collaboration plan. You can review my slides on proposals about that, but basically you want to figure out who's going to do what, and you want to delegate specific tasks. Proposal writing is 90% planning, 10% doing. If you don't go through these steps, you're going to procrastinate, you're going to be overwhelmed later. So I think before spring break, you should have a draft of a problem statement, and you should have some tasks delegated to make sure everyone gets everything done. And then once you have all that together, I would write the preview of your guides section, because you want to make sure that your guide logically is a solution to the problem. And then draft your proposal around the core. So you'll have your problem statement, you'll already have your collaboration plan, and you'll have a preview of your guides. Everything else is just packaging. The heart of your proposal are the problem, the plan, and the guides, and the preview of the guides, which is your solution. And then draft your proposal. Since this is due, I think it's a week after we get back from spring break, you really should have a draft of your proposal done by that Thursday before this is due, so that during class I can come around and kind of chat with you about your proposal and offer maybe some editing tips, and then you want to edit and polish it up before it's due. We'll get to this later, but I've also broken down the tasks for your user guide and for your report. Like I said, I'll go over these in more detail later, but I provide them here because in order to write a proposal, it's important to know where you're going. So understanding what you need to do to create a user guide and what you need to do to create a report can kind of help you plan at this point. Especially when you're writing the proposal, you have to write a timeline that includes the whole project, so I thought this would be helpful. But again, we'll go over these in more detail later. So if you have any questions about anything that we're doing, please let me know. I hope this was helpful. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions you have in class.